A horrifying case out of Columbus, Ohio, a double homicide where the suspect, even after a week, is still on the loose. I'm going to break this case down for you right now. And let me just tell you, trigger warning, this couple, Dr. Spencer and Monique Tepe, they had two children under the age of 6, 1 and 4, who were left in the house unharmed after these two were shot to death. And I just have to say, I have not stopped thinking about these children. Monique Tepe, she was a stay-at-home mom. I know what that's like. These kids, I mean, they must be crying for their mom right now as we speak, and my heart just goes out to them. That the entire family, seriously. I again have not stopped thinking about this case. Let me start from the beginning. I have an article that I wrote up on the screen right now, but man, is this not a beautiful couple? This is Dr. Spencer and Monique Tepe. Spencer was 37 years old. He was a dentist. Monique, she was 39 years old. She had a background in early childhood education. And as I mentioned, she was now a stay-at-home mom. They're actually standing in this picture on the steps of their home in Columbus, Ohio, which literally gives me chills because this is their wedding and they got married in this house and they were also subsequently killed in this house. And I mean, it's even more heartbreaking that they were coming up on their 5-year wedding anniversary. It was about a month away. And again, as of right now, police have not announced any suspects, but I don't think that means that they don't have any. And, I'll tell you why. But let's start from the beginning. This homicide happened most likely, and this is per police, between the hours of midnight and 9 a.m. on December 30th. So that was last Tuesday, about a week ago. And Spencer, he works at a dental firm called Athens Dental Depot. And the dentist that runs the dentist office, he was on vacation, but he got word that Dr. Tepe didn't show up that morning. And that was very, very unlike him. He was a very timely guy, responsible guy. So they kind of figured, someone should probably do some kind of welfare check. So someone drove by the house at one point. And there's been a couple 911 calls, and I'll actually play a part of one 911 call. But the first 911 call was this dentist that ran Athens Dentist Depot. His name was Dr. Mark Valrose. He called and basically said, yeah, I'm on vacation, but we can't get a hold of Dr. Tepe. This is unlike him. Maybe you can send someone by the house. Now, someone also went by the house who was reportedly a friend of the Tepes. Maybe this was a colleague. I'm not quite sure. But this 911 call came in and basically they could hear children crying, which just breaks my heart. It literally makes me sick to my stomach. And this caller also was able to see inside the window where he reported that he saw Spencer laying next to the bed and he saw blood. Now, police released information about the shooting, and they said that Monique was shot once in the chest and Spencer was shot multiple times. There were spent shell casings from a 9mm gun, which is a handgun, and there were no obvious signs of forced entry, and no weapons were found. Again, no obvious signs of forced entry. I'm assuming nothing was taken because they said no obvious signs of forced entry. And I looked at this home. I looked at it on Zillow. I looked at it from a Google Street Map, and it does have a ring cam in the front. And also, there are multiple doors in the home. I am assuming at this point that maybe they left some of their doors unlocked, or maybe they knew who this suspect was. I don't normally like to report unverified claims, but this is completely unverified. But there is a claim going around pointing fingers at an ex of Monique's. Again, I say that and I bring this up just based on the knowledge that we have that no signs of forced entry were seen. So that was my way of kind of saying, yeah, maybe there is some truth to the perp being someone that they knew. Also, I called the homicide unit in Columbus, Ohio, and I spoke to them for not too long, but they were very kind and very nice. They just couldn't really share any additional information with me. And truthfully, I wanted to know about the case, but I really wanted to know about the kids. I wanted to make sure the kids were physically okay. I mean, physically. So, and again, she couldn't really speak about that, the woman on the phone, but she did say that this neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio, that the Tepes lived in, because this home, it was, I think it was like $500,000 or something like that when I looked at it. Um, she said that the neighborhood had been gentrified over the last 10 years, meaning that they had really cleaned it up. And there used to be, homes with boards all over them. And that just is something you don't see anymore. So they were really trying to make this a good neighborhood. That being said, if you kind of go an adjacent block over, there had been recently a lot of robberies. So it's kind of one of those places where, yes, this neighborhood is super nice, but you take a turn over here and you're in a really bad area. I also saw on the homicide website that between November and December, Columbus, Ohio had something like 14 or 15 unsolved homicides, which is just crazy. Crazy. So just going back to my article here, I have a lot of information that I had initially put out on Twitter. This was the post that I did, and this was the Athens Dental Depot, the post that they put out. This is where Spencer worked, and they closed for the week. They were just very, very traumatized by this whole thing, and they were clearly in mourning. I do want to get to the 911 call where this man says there's blood, quote, he's laying next to the bed, he's off of the bed, and there's blood. So in just 1 second, I'll play that. This is the initial media informational report. There really wasn't much there. It just says the address of the home, the 1400 block of North 4th Street, well-being check, yada, yada. I've said all this already. And then the brother-in-law of the Tepes, and I believe that he is married to Spencer's sister. He shared a family statement that is just so heartbreaking. He talked about them just being such wonderful parents, being a friend to everyone they met. They were huge Bengals and Buckeyes fans. They were part of the Big Brother, Big Sister program. It just broke my heart. I mean, and they love their children. They were so incredibly proud of their children. So there's also a GoFundMe in this article as well. And you know what? I'll just put the article in the episode notes so you guys can see it. But I did reach out to their brother-in-law, and I always feel so strange about it because I wasn't trying. Number one, I wasn't really trying to get information. I was trying to talk to him to make sure I had everything accurate for the article, because when I'm writing something like this, I want to make sure that it's helpful when they're trying to find this double red rummer. So I reached out just to make sure everything was accurate. I wanted to ensure that I had the family statement correct. Of course, I said, if there's anything that you can share that would help, let me know. And I wanted permission to use a photograph, the beautiful photograph that you see. And Rob was very kind. He said yes, but he couldn't discuss anything about the investigation as it was ongoing. So I completely understood that. But what I will say right now, there also was another camera on a utility pole across the street from the home. So multiple cameras in the neighborhood at the Tepe's house. I feel like they have something on camera, police. I feel like they know who they're going after. They just have to find this person at this point. That's what I think. I mean, I could be wrong, but the fact is we haven't heard anything. So that's why I feel like they are just on this manhunt and they are just zeroing in, because at the beginning, the first couple of days, they were really begging the public, police were begging the public for information with a QR code saying, drop evidence in here, drop footage, anything you guys have between the hours of midnight and 9 a.m. that would help us solve this case. And now they're being pretty tight-lipped. I also want to point out that a red rum suicide was ruled out immediately based on the fact that Spencer had the multiple wounds, the positioning of the bodies. I'm assuming they would be able to tell. So that was initially ruled out. Although, again, we don't have every single detail as to why that was ruled out. I am just trusting police and the coroner there. So let me go back to just playing part of this 911 call before we close out. Oh boy, those kids, like I said, I cannot stop thinking about them. Oh my goodness. Okay, I found this on X. Here we go.
911, what's the location of your emergency? We got several calls on that. What's changed since the last person I talked to?
There's a body. There's
a body inside?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get you on the line with the medic, okay? Stay on the line.
Background noise is crazy.
There's a body. Our friend wasn't answering his phone. We just did a wellness check. We just came here, and he appears dead. There's blood. He's laying next to his bed, off of his bed, and there's blood. I can't get closer to see more than that.
Okay, so you can tell he's obviously not breathing or anything?
Yeah.
Is it like kind of like
This is also linked out in the story. I don't need to play the whole thing, but again, I mentioned there were multiple 911 calls. Check out the story linked in the episode notes. I'm going to keep you guys posted about this case because, like I said, this one is just really, really haunting me. I'm going to be praying for this family, and hopefully, with all of the sleuths out there and all of the recordings and cameras and everything like that, hopefully they will find their killer and they will be brought to justice. Thanks, guys, so much for watching this podcast. I'm Lauren Conlin. This is Los Angeles Magazine's daily pop culture, scandals, and crime news podcast. I'll be back with another episode tomorrow.